Hi YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to do the first video in a series of my pregnancy videos. So this is going to be an overall second and third trimester video recapping my pregnancy. If you didn't watch the previous video that I just did, I'm finally getting back on planet Earth and doing my videos about my pregnancy. So if you want, you can go back and watch that one. So let me kind of start off with saying that it ended up being a twin pregnancy, which is amazing. Just amazing. Sometimes I still can't believe I've got two babies, but I do. And when they're screaming at night at 3 o'clock in the morning, I know that I have two babies. So it's pretty amazing. And after all was said and done, I kind of have a feeling that the reason it ended up being a twin pregnancy could be a little bit genetic, but I actually am leaning more towards I was having issues with not being able to get pregnant, and I have a prolactinoma, and I was then put on cabergoline and metformin last July, right around this time, and to try and deal with helping me ovulate and dealing with the prolactinoma. The cabergoline is actually for the prolactinoma. The metformin was to help with any pre-diabetes. So I was thinking that as soon as I found out it was a twin pregnancy, the doctor started to talk to me and kind of were like, okay, were you on anything or whatever? And then they were like, you must have hyperovulated. Now, hyperovulation can occur from a couple of different things, but one of the main things that it does occur from is obviously your ovaries releasing more than one egg. And what could have been the reason for releasing more than one egg other than the medicine cleaning out my ovaries and ovulating at the same time? I mean, it's unbelievable, because I was diagnosed with PCOS a couple years ago. And so the idea of your ovaries being polycystic and having a hard time with the eggs releasing, the idea that two eggs release at exactly the same time, made it out of the fallopian tubes and into there and sat tight and waited, and that perfect moment where, like, I don't know, like, let me tell you, some absolutely beautiful moments, because I absolutely remember the night I got pregnant, because that month it really only happened once. And I remember the night, and I can't believe, like, that one time was such a perfect moment, such a perfect setting, that it ended up becoming hyperovulation, two eggs. They're fraternal twins, so they're not identical as far as we know. DNA wise, they're not identical. They had their own two placentas. They were di-di, so I don't remember really what the second di is for, but I know that they're dizygotic or something. I have not learned how to pronounce any of this stuff yet, so I apologize. But they were di-di, so that's what I learned how to say whenever anybody asked me. And we found out right around 12 weeks when I went in for an emergency ultrasound. So, which was Halloween, so October 30th, 31st of last year. So, as soon as that happened, it was life-changing, and I mean, really, the rest of the pregnancy, I started losing weight. A lot of the symptoms, let me tell you, the symptoms in this pregnancy were out of control. If you really want to know, an example of a horrible pregnancy, I'm gonna give it to you, because I'm telling you, no, I love the babies to death. I love them to death, but what I went through and what I suffered was unbelievable. And It was like if you remember, if you watched, sorry, I'm turning for a second. If you remember or watched any of my pregnancy videos in the beginning, one of the very first videos that I did, one of the ones early on, was of how much vomiting I was having right at the beginning of the pregnancy. So around like 6 or 7 weeks, it was like all of a sudden, all this nausea and vomiting like out of nowhere. And then that continued. There was a period of like maybe up until around like 15 weeks where it was this constant nausea, morning sickness, vomiting. Then it turned into occasional nighttime vomiting. Then it turned into every morning I woke up, I stood up, and this nasty yellow, green, vile bile was coming up. It was bile. It was disgusting. It was like every single morning. I can't even remember going more than 2 days without having this morning vomit. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it was. I don't know why it would happen. And the only thing I can think of is maybe perhaps the digestion at night is occurring, and then there's these digestive juices, and then all of a sudden that motion from going here to here, it might have moved, and then all of a sudden causes a reflux. Whatever the story was, it was horrible. It was insane because it was so frequent. It was every single day, and I couldn't believe that it never went away. And I kept thinking, oh, everyone says this will go away, the morning sickness thing, and eventually some point in time it'll go away. It never went away. So that was one of the horrible symptoms during my pregnancy. Then eventually this vomiting took all different kinds of forms at all different kinds of days and moments and occasions and whatever. In the middle of the pregnancy, sometimes it was certain foods. Sometimes at the end of the pregnancy, it was like a lot more frequent at night, because I don't know, I was eating, I was hungry, I was eating, and maybe I was already just too tight by the end. And I mean, I just overall, lots of vomiting during this pregnancy. And on many occasions, and I'm not even like trying to be TMI, but I'm really just trying to throw it out there how it is. On many occasions, it was projectile. I have never experienced my body do something the way it did during this pregnancy. It was like a force, like, oh my God, what did you just put in me? And I need to get it out now. And it almost felt like these babies were like, oh no, I don't like it, and whoosh, and they would either push up or move or something, and it was ridiculous. So I don't know if other people have experienced that during a normal pregnancy of one baby, but that was a huge overall symptom throughout my whole pregnancy. Now, related to that was around maybe like 20 weeks or so, intense acid, oh my God, intense acid, how do I say it, like I was constantly burping it up, man. Let me tell you, it was like constant. I felt like there was always so much gas in my stomach, and I would eat something, and if it didn't come up, it definitely came up in a gas form. So lots of burping and heartburn. The heartburn was intense at times as well. So a lot of gastrointestinal stuff, like not fun. That was the majority of the second and third trimester. I'm almost at 10 minutes on this video, so I'm going to cut here and I'm going to do a part 2. Okay, thanks guys, see you in a bit.